Like they say, yes, yesterday, as we start this show, this one mic, hey, the clock is moving, recording. It's time to get into the business. Before I do that, I got to bring in the co-host for the evening, uh, my man, Isaiah. How you doing, man?
Doing good, Devon. Thanks for having me again. Good to see you, Darnell, too.
It's good to have you in the building. And then we got Darnell over at Darnell Cookland Jr. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great. Just got done with another 7-on-7. We finally gelling. You know what I'm saying? It's coming together nicely.
All right. A lot of people got a lot of hopes in the preseason. Today we're going to talk a little college football. Before the lights come on, everybody's hopeful. You got high schools all over the country. Everybody's hopeful right now. We got colleges all over the country. Everybody's in this hopeful spirit. NFL, everybody's hopeful. It's like the grass is going. The pads are hitting. Everybody's hopeful. This is a great time of year, and we're gonna get into that and talk about it a little bit. We're going to kick this thing off. Welcome to One Mic. Please go to RSG, realsportsguys.com, and check out the content. We had a great show with both these gentlemen talking about boxing. Actually was connecting with a colleague of mine on campus who'd been listening and was a boxer. They found out he was a boxer. One, in fact, boxed in Philadelphia. Actually sparred with Garcia while he was out there for 5 years after college. It was a fascinating conversation. We'll have to try to get him on. I didn't realize that about it. It was a great time. And so coming in here kind of hot to the show, ready to roll. But we got a great podcast with both these gentlemen. They know a lot about sports, but their boxing acumen is right on point. In this show, we're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about, but we're going to open up with the back page. This is like an opportunity for each of us. Something in sports that's just been kind of on our mind. Maybe there's a few things that are like headlines for you at top of mind as you've been thinking about the sports life. And so I know Darnell was over there trying to think of his.
Oh,
Uh,
I got mine now.
you got yours now? All right,
Yeah.
Darnell, you go first. What you got?
Oh yeah. My back page is definitely Braun at the Drew League. You know what I'm saying? He showed up. You know, DeMar DeRozan. He has his appearance at the Drew League every year. He's a native of California, Southern California, and LeBron joined him and his team for this pro am experience. They had Casper Ware on their team, and they put on a show. I mean, and LeBron was looking good. I mean, you could tell like the stuff they always say about him spending millions of dollars on his body and stuff. Man, it's paid off because he's 37, going on 38, and still doing windmill dunks and jumping out the gym. He can, and his game is real sharp. Like man, like he was going to his turnaround, doing all kinds of stuff, man. And just the experience for the community. I mean, it was a good look. So that's definitely on my back page. LeBron at the Drew League.
Yeah, I think it's located in Compton too. So it
Yes.
was, and that's DeRozan's home space, I believe. And so it was good. It reminds regular old folk who think they got something. Everybody say only if, and then they get in there and they realize what there's levels to this, right? It was one of them situations where every one of them cats on the court probably was in a barbershop talking about who they gonna serve, and it was all getting served. You realize that there just levels to this. At whatever 37, 38, LeBron just giving you buckets and their eyes get big, and it like he's not even working a sweat up. I mean, I'm just like, I saw that video. I was just like, man, does he did he get the secret to the fountain of youth? I don't know what. His greatness was clearly on display.
Yeah, he don't
Uh,
look like he don't look like he's 37 years old.
no, no, and you can't be no kid in this house talking about what you can't do, right? It's just like Bronny them in trouble. You can't be the James House. There's nothing that you can't even have a can't do. Like can't even be a vocabulary. Like you got to drop it at the driveway when you're in the house. This is one of them things that just can't be part of your vocabulary. When Papa out there giving everybody buckets, giving them buckets. Bronny saw that. He's like, I gotta go out and work on my game. Daddy just showed me up. That there's one thing when you got to follow your daddy, but when your daddy doing it like that at 37, I don't know, man. I don't know. I thought the Jordan kids had a problem. These kids got a problem. Isaiah, what you got? top of the mind.
Yeah, so my back page, I've really been paying attention to boxing. I know we're gonna talk about some boxing in a little bit, but I think a really important fight for boxing is a women's fight coming up in September with Alicia Baumgartner uh, versus Michaela Mayer and Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall. Um, I think those fights are huge. In this, I think kind of following that same blueprint from the Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor fight. Um, and I see those fights really, really being successful, and I think it being kind of pioneering, for women's equality in the sport of boxing, and women's to be presented on that stage. I think it is a step in the right direction. But as far as those fights, I'm gonna just give my brief predictions. But I do believe that Clarissa Shields is going to show that there's levels to this. The only reason that they are matching them up together is because Savannah Marshall got the better of her in the amateurs. And that's the reason why they're hyping up this fight, and they're trying to make it seem like there's an actual match for Clarissa when really there's not. There's a reason why, she's been so as dominant as she is. And I think she's going to show that, and she's going to do her thing. I think her hand speed and her head movement and foot speed is just too good for Savannah Marshall. And then Alicia Baumgartner versus Michaela Mayer, I do see that fight being a little bit more competitive. I think Michaela Mayer has some skills, but I can see Alicia Baumgartner giving her some troubles with her kind of slick kind of style and her head movement. So I'm rocking with both of the girls from Michigan.
Yeah.
The hometown. So I'm really excited for those fights, and I've been paying attention to both of them.
Yeah, and when you think about boxing, I mean, you see, we were talking about before. You have a rematch between Pena and Nunes in UFC, and UFC has really found a way to headline, female athletes in terms of being a draw. You think about my partner's in Vegas right now doing some helping out with some stuff, and the marquee with Nunes and Pena is there, it's this is big time. Like, people are paying big tickets to go see this, and I think boxing is finding its way to that type of marquee matchups where you get the payoffs, and you begin to see that with these and with the purses, right? And with people getting some real money, in terms of support. So I think these two fights are very important. I think they've had some really interesting opportunities coming up here in recent years around it. So we're all going to watch. I got to go for the folks from Michigan. So I can't. I got to show the love. It's just something about it. I gotta. Especially with Clarissa, I gotta. I just gotta be there for the. I gotta be there for the support on that one. But I think UFC has really found a way. I mean, this rematch of Pena and Nunes is like marquee matchup. Like, it's got all kinds of hype, and they're the coaches for their series in terms of their UFC series in terms of the next generation of fighters. So they're finding a way to really market these fighters, and I think boxing can learn something in a way that UFC's been able to do that. Darnell, I thought you were going to say something. Maybe I cut you off.
No, I got both of the Michigan girls as well, Baumgartner and Shields, but I have to disagree. I think this is going to be a dangerous fight for Clarissa Shields. I mean, Savannah Marshall has a lot of length. She has a lot of power. I mean, Clarissa, she's gonna have to get in there to score points. You know what I'm saying? Does she have to close distance, or what Chris is really gonna do is she's gonna make Savannah Marshall come to her. And but the thing is, I've seen Clarissa. She does a lot of her work having the other girls at the end of her punches, and with the wingspan disparity, I think that might be a little difficult because Clarissa, she is athletic, but I don't necessarily see her as a slick fighter. But but we'll see. We'll see when the fight happens. But I definitely gonna be backing Clarissa, but it's gonna be a dangerous fight. It's not gonna be no easy pickings, in my opinion. And as far as yep, and as far as the women's boxing versus UFC point, I think the landscape of women's boxing does the sport disservice, a disservice, because the way it's set up. I mean, the women's fights, they fight 2 minute rounds. They have championship fights going 10 rounds. I mean, just the flow of the fight just seems different. Like it just feels like I don't know the Katie Taylor fight and versus Serrano was an amazing fight, great atmosphere. But sometimes it just feels like the way it's formatted. Um, it I think it takes something away a little bit. But
Yeah, I with you. I mean, and a lot of debates on around but it feels like the round is over as they're getting warmed up.
yeah,
And, yeah,
yeah,
and I would definitely like to see uh, fight 3 minute rounds. You hear a number of the fighters talk about that, and so it's something that Whereas, in the UFC, I think it's everything is similar, right?
everything the
For
same. Yeah.
It's the same. If they got a 5 round, it's the same for everyone. So I think that that is something that boxing really has to get their arms around. And I think early on, they were trying to create space and create the pool. But I think
Yeah.
UFC kind of set the bar the same. Like we're gonna diversify. We're going to create these the categories, and we're going to grab our women fight. But everybody's gonna be fighting in the same. So you're gonna have the 3 rounds, same minutes, everything else. And I think boxing's gonna have to move in that direction, especially with the caliber of talent. Because in that fight, that might have been a different fight on 3 minutes in 12 rounds, right? And so, it made a difference in the way that Katie Taylor was able to, because she
To
was rocked.
survive.
She was rocked. She was rocked.
Yeah.
She survived.
Oh,
If she had another minute, she would have had to
yeah.
survive. That thing could have been over. You see what I'm
I
saying?
think it would have been.
I think it would have been over if
I
she had
think it
another
would have
minute.
been.
She had to try to figure that out. And so, uh, it definitely changed the course of that fight in a way. So those are great points, and we'll keep our eye out on that. On mine, I'm about to say this for the first time yesterday. I'm gonna admit this. I watched the MLB All Star Game. Man, the things. Now I got to throw a shout out to Joe Davis, Beloit College alum, who's now the voice of baseball for Fox. Joe, shout out. Way to go, man. Way to keep it started out. You know, announcing the Beloit College games and being in there doing it. Now you're the face of the voice of baseball, doing your thing. So I got to throw a shout out to Joe Davis. Hopefully we'll have him here on the RSG platform here soon, and we can hang out and talk about the journey. But man, I enjoy watching it. And the craziest part about it was when they were talking to the pitcher. Like the pitcher had the mic as he was getting up, and it felt like at the park, the old days when you're little, when you had a lot to say on the mound as you were throwing to something. But I felt like they caught the production, and then something about Poppy having those kind of cats as part of the production. But it's been a long time since I sat down and watched baseball, and they got some personalities in the MLB. They got some young cats, and they found a way in this process to bring those personalities out. If you would have told me on Monday that I would be watching the All Star game, I would have told you it was crazy. But I watched that thing and enjoyed it. It was competitive, but just the way in which you got to know the players and the way in which they were using, all aspects of television to demonstrate that. And but the part when Smoltz was giving them suggestions on what to pitch, that stuff was just hilarious. It was good, and they talking back to. I think I'm gonna strike him out. Like it was. There was some great elements to the game. So that was on my back page. I didn't expect that to be it, but I really enjoyed it, man. I really enjoyed it. I don't know if y'all had a chance. Y'all don't look like two individuals who watch the MLB All
Man,
Star Game.
I haven't watched baseball. Every time we talk about baseball, I say the same thing. I haven't watched baseball for real since Steven Strasburg got hurt the first time.
Man, I'm telling you, they got some young talent in that game, man. And it's like
I got
they got a market. They got some cats. First of all, they got a lot of great young talent, and it's diverse, and they got to do a better job of their marketing because I really enjoyed it. And for me to say that for all of y'all who've been listening to RSG, I know we've had our we had our podcast series around that. We had Hank and everybody doing it, and we were trying to do we'll hopefully we dust that off and bring it back. I had a good time, so I'm going to leave it at that. If you get a chance, check it out. We got some young talent in MLB. They just got to do a
Oh,
better job of marketing.
one thing I do got to say about baseball. Did you hear about what's going on with Joe Judge? Do you know what? Can you tell people what's going on with Joe Judge?
With his money,
Not Joe Judge. What's his name? Aaron.
Aaron
Who
Judge,
played for the Yankees? Aaron Judge.
with his
Is that
money,
his name? The superstar.
yeah.
No, I saw an interview on Twitter where he was somebody asked him if he's going to be re-signed with the Yankees, and he pretty much in a roundabout way said no. And I don't know if that a thing that's going on now, or how
Well,
the Yankees doing?
it's a lot like other sports, right? They had opportunity to try to sign him, and they offered him. He betting on himself, right? We
Oh,
see that in football. We see that in
yeah,
basketball,
like Lamar
and
Jackson doing. I know.
yeah, um and the Yankees, as the Yankees would do, took that position. Now he hot. He hot, and and part of it is you got to drive up the Brinks truck. And I don't know if the Yankees are prepared. They ain't got enough trucks to drive up for this cat's money. I mean, this cat, if he hits the way he wants to, has a chance to get what we would call the original regular season home run record. Depending on how you want to debate it, is that I mean he has a chance. He's putting up some really good numbers, an amazing athlete, and he's just being realistic. Like you got to roll up that truck. So it's unfortunate, but I mean, he bet on himself, right? That's the new thing. Are you ready to bet on himself? He's doing the Lamar, I'm gonna bet on myself technique. Now the question is, like all of these teams, y'all play that staring game, and you just hope you can make a case against paying them. At this point, the Yankees going to have to roll up a lot of money to get to this cat. So yeah, I mean, he's playing the cat and mouse, and maybe they might come up with a deal here in the season, but I don't know if they, I don't, you don't got the George Steinbrenner, you got the other Steinbrenner, you got the youngins, them generations cats. Now George probably would have found a way to got that money. These youngins they got a little more responsible. They trying to build a farm system. They trying to rationalize their spending, and they think they can win other ways. But this kid he's a generational talent. So that's probably what he's talking about. Isaiah, I don't know if you've been paying
Yeah.
attention to baseball enough to know you got to look like. See, we got a generational issue baseball. These young
Yeah,
cats who are talented and know stuff like that, they're not even trying. We got a cat. We got Julio Rodriguez. Now, if you ever grew up playing the Julio Rodriguez, we know growing up, he used to have that. He used to do that move when he was at the plate. Now you got a youngin named Julio Rodriguez who can play for Seattle. So we got some talent in here, and these cats don't even know it. So we got to do some more
Is Black
work.
Guerrero Jr. still playing?
Oh, he bad too. Nick like his daddy though. His dad though would hit a pitch outside off the ground out the park.
That was
Uh,
my guy,
but
Black
but
Guerrero
yeah,
Senior.
but the junior got game up there killing it. So man, I'm watching all this talent out here. I'm like, it's like all the sports we talk about, like the depth. We talked about this with basketball. Just the depth. You got all these great athletes, but then the level of that second level is full in baseball. Like that second level of talent is like everywhere you look, and they all young. I mean, this All Star game, a number of guys who are like under 25. It looked like man, woo. So I didn't know that until I turned the TV on, and I think I'm gonna try to find my way back. In the spirit of inside the park, I'm gonna try and find my way back. All right, y'all. Let's talk a little bit about the fight time. We got some stuff going on here now. Youngin, you want to bring Garcia, my man Garcia, who telling his game plan, thinking the mic is off. Garcia, Ryan Garcia, who's a heartthrob, but I'm not sure if he got something above his neck. Fought this weekend trying to set himself up for Tank Davis. For the people who haven't been following this story, Darnell, I'm gonna give you a chance to kind of set it up for the people who aren't paying attention to what's happening with Ryan Garcia, what happened last week, what this means for Tank, and then I love to have Isaiah come in and give his opinion on where we are with the heartthrob.
So are you you want the whole Ryan Garcia story? Or
We got to give him a
how
little bit of
deep
build
you want
up
me to go?
because not everybody follows boxing, but
Oh, okay.
this is a kid who might have some mainstream appeal. You know, if
Yeah.
you on IG, he got an IG presence, right? He that new
So
generation. He done built it. He like these new rappers. They built all this stuff on these followings, but the record might not be substantive. They got a following, but they might not have bars. That's the thing we're trying to figure out about Ryan.
yeah, so with Ryan Garcia is a very talented kid. He's young. He's really young. He had a decorated amateur career. He did not go to the Olympics, but he had over 200 amateur wins in the amateurs. Him and Devin Haney split. They fought 6 times. They split three and three. So that just shows you the type of talent that Ryan is. Ryan Garcia has a very large Instagram following, and that's really where the big hype um, is coming from. Is from Ryan Garcia, but since he does fight on his own, you'll never really know what kind of eyes he's pulling towards the network because they don't publish those numbers. But as far as the actual boxing side going on now, Ryan is all over the place. Ryan Garcia is a guy that, like we said, he has that history with Devin Haney, and they were on the same crash course, moving up the rankings. And talking about a lot of these young guys, they all have something in common. They've all looked at Devin Haney and looked the other way. And Ryan Garcia might be the most egregious exception. I mean, he might be he probably is the most egregious example of this because when they're going up the rankings and Devin Haney was the regular WBC champion at the time, Ryan Garcia fought to gain mandatory status, which was inside of this thing they call the WBC interim belt. So he becomes Devin Haney's mandatory. They're both fighting on the zone at the time, and Ryan Garcia turns the fight down. He says, "Okay, I want to fight Tank now. I just fought to become your mandatory, but I don't want to fight you. I don't fight Tank." So they get in negotiations, right? And they're getting ready to fight. Tank is down to fight. Ryan is seemingly down to fight. And then as soon as the fight, they're in negotiations. They're about to make it happen. And now makes up this room. Well, he comes out and says that he has an offer to fight Manny Pacquiao, and he wants to fight Manny Pacquiao. And Manny Pacquiao's like, I don't know what you talking about. I ain't seen you no offer. Nobody, my people ain't talk to your people. I don't know who Ryan Garcia. You fight at 135. I'm fighting 147. About to fight Earl Spencer. What are you talking about? So after that whole thing blows up, Ryan Garcia goes into this depression. He stopped. He hasn't fought. I don't think he's fought in over a year. I think it's been around. It's been around a year, probably maybe a little longer. He's been sitting on the sidelines, getting the mental health help that that he needs. He ends up switching trainers. He has beef behind the scenes with Canelo Alvarez, and boxing. He's one of the top guys in the sport, and he's a guy that's really taking Ryan under his wing. And they get into it. He leaves the camp. He goes to train with Joe Goosen. So now he's trying to work his way back up. He had a fight probably like 5-6 months ago against I forgot exactly who he fought, but it was another a lower level fighter.
Manuel Tago.
Tago, thank you, Mayo Tago. Tago, yeah. He fought him, and then now he's up against Javier Fortuna. Fortuna is a former champion at 135. At 130. Sorry, he fought at 126, 130, 135, and they make this fight at 140. And what's interesting with this is, the young group, right? You have Devin Haney, you have Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez. All these guys are at 135 at the same time. Teofimo goes up to 140. But Tank and Devin are both at 135 right now. And Ryan Garcia fights this past week. He has a really good performance. Javier Fortuna, mind you, he is past it. You know what I'm saying? He's 33 years old. You know, he hasn't been ever since that Adrian Granado's fight has been downhill for him. That was a good 4 years ago. It's been downhill for him ever since then. But Ryan looked good Saturday, and after the fight, surprisingly, you know, he's still calling out Gervonta Davis, but now what he's saying is, I'm not going back to 135. I fight at 140 now. So now that just throws a whole nother monkey wrench into it. And I don't know if they're actually gonna end up fighting next, but I hope they do. But there's just it's a lot going on in that situation.
All right, so Isaiah, we got the cup now. You bring it home. So what I mean, as you analyze this, and the reason why I say about like Ryan had 200 fights, but one of the things y'all I've learned from y'all is that there's a transition to being a pro. He's demonstrated, but there's a way, and we talked about this with Gervonta Davis. Part of being great is how you approach your process to being great, not just the skill set. It's like how you organize yourself to be great. And it seems like Ryan has struggled to find that zone, and hopefully Goosen maybe is someone who can really get him. He's got too many things going on, and it doesn't look like there's a plan. So where do we go from here, man? Like what he had an impressive performance. Isaiah, where do we go from here, and what do you see happening on this landscape? Got a lot of great fighters, but they got to get in the ring.
I mean, I think Ryan Garcia has been impressive for a long time. I mean, I think that performance against Fortuna was, although that fight against Fortuna was kind of made for him to look impressive. You know, with him fighting at 140, Fortuna is really a smaller guy, and you know, a lot of things. It was really just a lot of Ryan Garcia advantages, but I think now it's just, you know, we're all in the boxing community. We're expecting him to take the next step. Um, you know, we've seen, you know, his talent and his potential. Now it's time to take that next step and to actually fight the top guys now. And you know, he's been, you know, keeping, you know, all these other fighters' names in his mouth, you know, just to kind of promote his own fights, I believe. But I think, you know, now I feel like, you know, he has no real other excuse. I mean, I know he's at 140, so I
And
mean
it's
that
beast
throws
at 140.
yeah,
It's a
I
beast at
mean,
140.
But will they
right,
let him play at 140? That's the thing. He got
right.
to go to 140 and fight. You know,
Yeah,
let's face
he's
it,
not gonna fight the top guys at 140 immediately, in my opinion. Like, you know, I feel like he might be trying to go up to 140 also because he knows that he don't want Devin Haney. I don't think any of these guys really want Devin Haney for real, but I think, you know, I did think that Ryan Garcia is, you know, he did outgrow 135 for sure, and I think all the other guys are gonna get there eventually. But it's just, you know, only a matter of time. And I don't know if those guys, you know, when they're going to move up to 140 and, you know, if Tank is going to move up anytime soon. I think Devin Haney is going to move up pretty soon to 140. But, you know, there's still a lot of questions about Ryan Garcia, even after this impressive performance. I think, you know, before this fight, you know, people were questioning his work ethic and, you know, even when he was with the Canelo camp and all that stuff. And I just feel that, you know, now he's, you know, he had an impressive performance. That's true. But I feel like he has to prove even more, you know, get a real belt. You know, let's fight the top guys in the division. You know, I know he wants Tank, but, you know, I don't know. I don't see that happening. I mean, I definitely would want for that to happen. I mean, I think that would be a really compelling fight. But as far as him being at 140, he's going to have to fight one of the top guys at 140 next. That's what I expect from him.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it. You know, we had this conversation about, you know, why did Tank fight people and why was like there was a transformation that happened for Tank that realized there's a professionalism to this. Like to be great, you got to like be in it all. You know, Tank's weight was going up and down, and I feel like Ryan in a different way has the same issue. Like, is this what you love to do, or is this what you talented about? Like, like you're talented enough to do this, but is this what you love to do? And it seems like he loves the limelight. He's there, but I don't feel like he's like. I think he has the talent to just be so elite. Like if he just focused and like got in it, I think he's got all the tools with the right person. But it's just like sometimes it's like his attention just gets thrown. It's like it's hard to follow what he's saying or You know, I'm not sure if he want to be one of the Backstreet Boys or NSYNC, or if he wants to be the best of all time. Like that's what throws me off about him. And you can see it, as I thought early on with Tank. Like, this guy could ever get focused. And focus for me is like when I remember when Darnell used to send me pictures like, dang, Tank done blew up. I'm like, that's why Mayweather is the way he is with him, because he knows he ain't living that life. Now you don't see Tank's weight fluctuate as much. Like, he's got a lifestyle to it. And in Ryan is the difference. Like, I see him in it, but then other times that you don't know if he's trying to be on, the next soap opera. And it's like, where is his time and attention is where I struggle with him. And you see some of the legendary boxers who question him, is like, he got all the whatever it is, but we don't really see the meat playing off. And maybe I'm just missing it, but that's something that is there. And maybe being with Goosen is the right person to like get him focused in a way that kind of get him going. But he's going to look good against guys who are tailor-made. The question is, what's he going to do against guys who are elite? And he has elite skills, but that's going to require a level of dog. Is he ready to go there? That's the part I don't know.
And it shows in his game. And to be honest with you, like, you watch his game and it shows just what you said. There's a lot of flash, but if he's fighting a guy like you said, like, that's a tougher matchup, it's going to make him show different dimensions of his game. What's going to happen, right? Because when I watch him, is he very skilled? Like, I know he's very athletic. I mean, he's long, he's really fast, he has great power. What happens what happens when a fighter makes him go to plan B? You know what I'm saying? Like, where is his plan B? What is that? You know what I'm saying?
I think he showed a little bit in that Luke Campbell fight, though. Yeah.
What you saying?
Yeah, he showed a little bit of that dog and an adjustment in that Luke Campbell fight.
He showed dog, but what was the adjustment? Like, what did he go to?
The body shot.
He was going to the body shot against Javier Fortuna. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, I don't know.
You see what we're saying? It's like,
you know what I'm saying? Like, what happens? What happens if let's say the Tank fight happens, right? What happens if Tank gets inside of his range and he has to fight on the inside? Do we know? Do we know if he can fight on the inside? What happens if somebody tries to rough him up? You know what I'm saying? Can he clinch? You know what I'm saying? These are boxers, like, you know what I'm saying? What happens if he's fighting against a slick boxer that's moving? You know what I'm saying? Like, can he cut the ring off? You know what I'm saying? All that kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are different questions. There's different boxers that haven't been checked with him yet.
And part of it is part of what I'm trying to figure out is he's preparing for that, right? And like, the thing about boxing that is really good, and I think y'all have this kind of trained eye because y'all watch it, is people can get caught with things that are fool's gold. And I think he got a lot of stuff that's fool's gold, especially at 140 with them straight beasts. Like you got to go to an inner spirit. Like, when I was at the Crawford fight, and when he was told in the corner that he was losing, I'm losing? And then he got up and went out there and knocked my guy out. Like, there's an inner spirit you got to go to, and like that they push you to. And I'm just trying to figure out, I think if he made a commitment, he got the ability to do that. And he's the kind of guy that he can beat 85, 90% of the fighters out there. What we're talking about with him is, because I think that's where he wants to be. Is he got that gear that's going to allow for him to be in that pound for pound space where you got to go deep to something, and that's the part that I'm not sure if I don't think sure if he's got the approach that allows him to do that.
Well, yeah, Devon. That's going back to what Isaiah said. I think he did show that. Like, my question with him isn't the temperament, right? My question is the actual adjustments. Like, he showed, like, in the Luke Campbell fight, he showed he does have dog. You know, so he got knocked down, he got up, and he turned up. Like, he turned up, and he got him out of there. But what my thing is, if you're going against more higher and higher level skill fighters, they're gonna make you go to plan B and C and D. You know what I'm saying? What's gonna
But
happen?
it's not just temperament. It's temperament combined with going to another part of your tank in your game, right? So I think it's your spot. It's the temperament tied to that, right? There are moments where you see in these great fighters, it's not just they got the temperament, but then they show you another part of their game that you know they've been, because that's one thing I love about
Like
Floyd and some of
Andre
these
Ward
guys.
against Kovalev.
Andre Ward is like the perfect example, and Andre Ward is his biggest critic, right? Andre Ward is his biggest critic. Andre Ward is a great example. And I think this kid has that, but it takes a level of overall discipline that I'm not sure if he has, and I could be wrong about it. And part of this, he's got so much other things going on, and is that Marvin Hagler's like sometimes it's hard to get up and work out when you're wearing silk pajamas. He got a lot of success overnight, and so there's ways he can get away with so much because he's just talented. His muscle memory that
Yeah,
might not help you when you go up against the most elite fighters.
and that's a good point because it's almost like the Deontay Wilder thing. Like
Yeah.
if I'm knocking people, what I'm saying, if I can knock people out with that right hand, what I'm saying, why should I do something else? You know what I'm saying? Like and like he's gonna end up going against a Luis Ortiz or a Tyson Fury, and then you look at this game, it's like, okay, what else does Deontay Wilder have? You know what I'm saying? And that's and I think that's a little bit on the matchmaking, like the management,
Yeah.
as far as the way they're moving their fighter, as far as we're going to put him against this guy that fights differently than this guy. But looking at Javier Fortuna, it would seem like I think Javier Fortuna of 4 or 5 years ago would have given a better look than the Javier Fortuna we saw last week, right? Because Fortuna used to be a guy that used to fight real dirty. He was very unpredictable, and now been a perfect test. You know what I'm saying? As far as the next step up for Ryan Garcia, and I don't think we really got to see that on Saturday.
Well, how old is Ryan? Ryan's young, right?
Ryan's real young. I think he might be like 22, 23.
Yeah. So I mean,
He's right there with Devin.
yeah. So I'm not. I don't want to be overcritical because there's a lot of growth for him that could happen between over the next couple of years that could really send him through. I mean, I think he's got box office stuff now, right? I think he's the kind of person who could just be a flat out pay per view. I'm doing, he gets the right combination. Like this cat is doing them De La Hoya type stuff, in the sense that he's crossing over. He got people coming to fights you never see come to fights. I think that's his potential, and I think that's why That's why I think you see like people like Ward being really critical of him because they see where he can go, but it takes a level of discipline that he doesn't quite have. So we're gonna track this. We're gonna track this. I hope the Tank fight come out. I hope the way they can find it because you know where I fit. He get in there with Tank. Y'all keep underestimating my man.
No, this is what I got to say about this fight because I've been in the Twitter spaces and all this kind of stuff, and everybody is down in the dumps on Ryan. For the last 4 or 5 years, and in that matchup, what I've been saying is, Tank to me, he's a more skilled fighter. You know what I'm saying? He's more technically sound. He has more dimensions to his game. He should beat Ryan Garcia, but at the end of the day, Ryan Garcia is super dangerous, right? Because
Oh yeah,
he's 5'10". He's 5'10", and you're gonna have to get in there,
yeah.
and in the midst of you trying to close distance, and that left hook could get you at any moment. You know what I'm saying?
It's
It
a
could happen
slingshot.
just like that. So that's a real dangerous fight.
Yeah, and I think sometimes that can be the fool's goal. When you know that that's something you can go to, right? When you know at any point that's it, that's the part that I think could be the fool's goal. That's my thing about Ryan. It's like, man, if you put some of this other stuff together with it, that's it. And so I love to see that fight. It's going to be dangerous. But I'm putting my money on, and I might be the only one over there because y'all love some Ryan, but I'm hanging with Tank. I'm hanging with B more.
No,
Nah,
I'm
we
putting my
right with
money
you.
on. I'm putting my money on Tank, but I'm just
We
telling
right
you.
with you,
I
man.
said, like, I'm gonna make I'm gonna make a case for
I'm
Tank,
going
but
to say
I ain't
I
going
know
that
you're not
far
going
with
to.
this.
You're not gonna be
Come
the only
on,
one
bro.
making money, man. Come on. Talking about us betting on Ryan Garcia.
Oh, let's hype him up, y'all.
Well, what up? But hey,
I'm
one thing
going
I
with the
will say,
wire. I'm
I've
going
been
with the
talking about
wire, huh?
I've been talking about Tank the last couple of weeks, but this is definitely a fight. I'll give him credit for. You know what I'm saying? Going on his resume. This would be a real good fight for his resume.
All right, y'all. We're gonna get back on this one. Hey, thank you for thank you for putting the chat. This made this one fun. I'm glad we had a chance to talk about it. All right, we're gonna get inside the booth a little bit. College football is coming in. A lot of changes going on. People losing their mind, including I was losing my mind. And I'm just gonna say that this is kind of the essence of our podcast today. Let's just slow down. Almost like what Aaron Rodgers was saying when he said relax. He spelled it out. We're gonna just slow down. I found myself watching today and I was like, let's just slow down. Football is gonna be played. They're gonna find a way to organize it. It's gonna work in some way. But there's a lot going on. And I just wanted to maybe spend a little bit of time as we getting ready. I was outside, I was just like, man, fall practice is about to start. You got all the coaches coming together, everybody, all the leagues. ACC just had their stuff. You had the SEC. Folks start calling. It's like, man, college football season's coming. So let me just start with you guys, and just kind of get a sense of like kind of a state of college football and where y'all fit on it. Um, you know, Isaiah, I haven't had a chance to talk to you about this, but just like realignment, like, as someone who lived in the Midwest, you went to Michigan State. There's a lot of things that are about rivalries. There's these, all these mugs and trophies about competition, like these historical stories that are built that are being torn down. And obviously, it isn't the first time in kind of college football history that things have changed and things have gone, but there seems like to been this kind of uh, tradition is not a part of these conversations, and so people are having their feelings about all this realignment. What's been just your general sense as that upcoming generation who's been watching all these changes in college sports?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little upset about all these changes. I do, yeah, especially as being a Big Ten guy, where I feel like there's a lot of tradition involved in a lot of these Big Ten schools. I feel like it kind of takes away from the overall college football experience. But like you were saying, there's still going to be football play. All these teams are still going to be playing, but just the formatting and the realignment is a little bit confusing. And I guess I don't really know what to expect from the season. But it's just what's going to happen next. You see these teams moving from conference to conference and all that, and it just seems like it just could turn into a big mess where there's really going to be like some super conferences where there's maybe two or three just really big conferences, and all the teams are that. And I feel like that would just be completely different as far as how college football would really look. And I think they would really have to consider a lot of other types of changes in terms of like how the conference championship games will be played, and traveling and all types of things. And not only that, but I know college football is moving conferences, but what about other sports? Are they going to be still in those same conferences? So I feel like there's still a lot of questions to be asked, but there's definitely, we do know football will still be played, it will still go on, but I think this is definitely a sign of just things that's going to be looking a lot different for sure.
As we go through this, I might have to have a couple of just, this is appropriate before we go, some Slim Charles quotes. And one of the things he says, it just hits on you that the thing about the old days is they the old days. Like Slim Charles from The Wire says, and to me, that is, you know, that's how people react to when people talk about, I watch Mad Dog Russo argue. He has a traditionalist stance on this, and like, that argument about it, and I think what's great about you expressing the way you express it, that this usually gets laid out in this kind of generational context. It's the old cats like me trying to bring this up, but I think there is an element when you're a college student about tradition. Like there's things that you already mark on your calendar when Michigan State gonna play. You already mark on your calendar where there's these other certain games that have been passed down that y'all people have talked about that you just know, and that even friends or relatives or other folks who came and told you about those experiences that you want to have. Like, Wisconsin and Minnesota game is that's something that has its own element and that is important. And for people, for those border states, right, that gets lost in it, that's kind of this regional aspect of college football. So I'm actually glad you brought that perspective up, and it's one of those things where you don't want to erode that. But as Slim Charles would say, it may be a lie, but we gonna roll, we gonna fight on this lie, right? That's kind of a paraphrase what he said. Like when when we together, we trying to roll with what they've cited in college football. Like this, we gonna fall on this lie about amateurism or whatever it is, or it's not about the money. We just gonna keep going. Like what we got right now is finally they got to come to the truth about what this is really about, because it's always been about the money. And I think in the last couple of years, they've just demonstrated that it was always what we thought it was, the money, right? For UCLA and USC to lead the Pac-12 to come to the Big Ten, that was a major thing that told you everything that we said this was about is what it's about. It's about the money. And
I'm
so
scared
your
for the
question,
Pac-12.
yeah, I mean, and think about it, is some of those teams are staying in the Pac-12 to compete. So think about you walking around your athletic department. The football players are wearing the uniforms with the Big Ten logo, and your volleyball players are wearing the Pac-12 logo. Like, think about that even as a context. And nobody cares. Like, nobody's even thought about that.
It's about that money.
Like, that don't even
But
make sense.
I just feel like what's like as far as the Pac-12, like I feel like they could like cease to exist in a few years, because I heard that their deal is going. And part of the reason why that those teams were leaving is because their deal is going to be expiring
There's a
in a
grant
few
of
years, I believe. So I'm really worried about what else could happen with the Pac-12 especially.
Yeah, that's going to be part of the conversation. Darnell, I'm going to bring you in. I know you've been tracking a lot of these things. I know you've been tracking recruits. You've been tracking it all. Like what? And you've been with some young cats that you've been taking to visit schools and everything else. I mean, how are you seeing this, and how is it impacting even the young people that you're working with who are trying to figure out, what their options are in college?
Man, I hate it. What the way I see it is in about 10 years, college football is going to turn to boxing. We're gonna have Top Rank and we're gonna have PBC, and the Big 12 gonna be the zone. The Pac-12 will be no longer. Oregon gonna come to they're gonna come to Death Row. They're gonna come to PBC. So
So
be
the
Washington,
Pac-12 going to be the
and then
WBC. We be crooks.
Arizona. No,
That's going to be SEC, huh? We be
if
crooks.
if we gonna go way back in the boxing history, Pac-12 is gonna be the NBA. So the WBA used to be called the NBA. So going all the way back to I'm not gonna go all the way back to boxing history. But, the Pac-12 is gonna end up dissolving. USC, UCLA, Oregon with Washington, they're gonna join the Big Ten. All those other schools like Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, they're gonna join the Big 12, and they're gonna be the zone. And then the ACC is gonna merge with the SEC, and we're gonna have college football. And it's gonna be bad because the non-conference there is gonna be no more like non-conference crossover kind of stuff, because ESPN is not gonna want their teams playing against the Fox teams, because since the game is being run by the money is being ran by the networks, and we've seen how it works in boxing. It's gonna work the same way in football, and I don't think that's good.
So this is what I think is going to be different, and it would almost been different in boxing had the senator from Arizona still remain alive, who really was paying attention to what's happening in boxing. This was gonna happen. Somebody gonna get messed over, maybe in like a state like Florida, and one of them senators gonna be having some meetings. And they already started doing this stuff. But when people start, well, you're gonna start. I said this back in 2010. You're gonna have congressional oversight coming here soon because one of these young cats gonna get done wrong. There's gonna be some suits. There's gonna be some stuff happening in this wild wild west. One of these senators who trying to run on something gonna have something that see this as a way to make a case and make something happen. Someone who don't like the fact that Alabama is winning, one of these senators from South Carolina or no, some this gonna end up in a congressional hearing in about 5 years. There's too much lack of control, and somebody gonna there's gonna be some abuse that's going to be found with it, and I just can't see that this is not gonna end up in front of some sitting, some kind of congressional hearing where there's going to be some stuff put in, some protocols put in. So either this whole idea that we're going to break away and when you got kids flying all across the country doing stuff, something going to give on this. It just can't keep going. It's just not. I don't see a scenario where it doesn't end up in some kind of congressional oversight in at least 5 years. Something going to happen because somebody will get stuck.
It'd be nice to have some congressional oversight in boxing, though. That would be great.
They're supposed to be with the Muhammad Ali Act, but
yeah,
right,
yeah, and I think we're gonna have a run around on that, and we at the end of the day we got to blame the leadership around us. These decisions, none of these things don't get decided without chancellors and presidents being okay with it. Like at the end of the day, all these decisions got to be approved by senior leadership. Like ads don't make these decisions, commissioners don't make these decisions. At the end of the day, they got to convince chancellors and ads to make these decisions. I mean, chancellors and presidents to make these decisions, and those are the people who are going to be accounted for if something happens in this wild wild west. What you already, if you've been on the ground, there's so much happening with these in different places, and the number of athletes who are getting left out or pushed out as well. I mean, those are some stories that will have to be unpacked. And so, yeah, this is, I think we're going to have a great product on the field. And I think at the end of the day, we're going to end up with a great tournament. I think we're going to end up with a 12-person tournament, which I think would be great for college football. But the stuff that's happening behind the scenes, you just saw a little bit of it with Alabama. With Saban coming out and throwing shots at Jackson State. Like, we didn't even talk about the Texas A&M piece. I mean, he's throwing shots at Deion. Like, that's like early stuff. What you think this thing gonna look like when they really start cooking? Like, he throwing shots at, now Deion's the wrong person to throw shots at because Deion got this media thing on lock. You're not gonna out talk Deion. And so I think he realized he backed off of it. But that just gave you a small indication of what's to come.
yeah.
So, but enough of that. What are y'all excited about? We know what's going to happen. At the end of the day, they're going to line up and play. What are you excited about with college football? What has got your juices going?
Well, like you said, right now we're in that period of optimism where everything looks good. You know what I'm saying? Like you even got Kansas State. I mean, Kansas State, they got Adrian Martinez, they got Deuce Vaughn back there. It's like, oh, what could this be? You know what I'm saying? You got Texas, Quinn Ewers. They still got Bijan back there running the ball. If Texas finally back, USC. They got they stole their coach from Oklahoma, as all the Oklahoma fans would say, and they stole all the recruits too. But is USC, like USC is going to change the whole dynamic. Well, over on the West Coast, You got the whole Ohio State and Michigan thing. You know what I'm saying? Can Michigan take over the rivalry? You know what I'm saying? Is Michigan State is can Mel Tucker bring Michigan State to prominence? You know what I'm saying? They've always been respectable. You know what I'm saying? But can he take them to that next level? Now that they're recruiting nationally, so there's a whole bunch of storylines. Clemson,
Yeah.
can Clemson bounce back after after Brent Venables is gone? You know, there's so much out there.
What about you, Isaiah?
Yeah,
What are you hopeful for?
yeah. Darnell mentioned it, but man, MSU, that's my alma mater. So I gotta support my school, man. And I really love the job that Mel Tucker did when he came in. I know some people were a little bit worried when he first came, but it's a process, and I think he started to figure it out last year, and I think we're coming back. We're coming back. Believe it. The Spartans are coming back. We've been respectable, but now, like Darnell is saying, we're going to get to that next level. I loved our progress. I know, we lose our workhorse, our running back, but I think we're still, we're recruiting better now. I think we're getting better as a program overall, just because Mel Tucker has come and really changed the culture. I think of how football is even thought about here at MSU. I remember when he came, when he first got up here to MSU and first got the coaching job, and just the excitement around football season up here in East Lansing was different. It was different. Everyone had that little slogan, "Tuck coming," and I think that was just, that was different from the later years of the D'Antoni era, where football was not exciting by any stretch. We had zero offense whatsoever. And I think Mel Tucker just came and changed the culture, and that got me excited last year, and I'm excited this year for this next season.
Yeah, I'm excited about just watching Dabo go through the on the air and just saying, okay, what is Clemson going to be? They're going to go back to South Bend. DJ is going to be in the house to see what kind of recovery he has. And then USC. USC was the SEC like when they were cooking, they was putting it on everybody. And when they kept everybody at the house, USC coming back to the party is, college football, boy, Hollywood's back in the building. That's going to be, I'm looking forward to see, because that puts some balance back in the world of college football. USC can, you can look out the window and grab talent. And so, Saban's been owning stuff, but to watch USC come back in, it feel like the stars are aligned the right way. There's some balance, right? I feel like, and you see some people coming up excited to see what's happening in my own backyard of Wisconsin with Bobby Ingram being the offensive coordinator. What that's going to mean with the talent. They're going to run their offense a little bit different and a little bit more open, but they got the running game, and they always had a great defense, but being able to score as well is something that's personally I'm interested in. Uh, but watching to see what Clemson's going to do and watch what USC is going to do, I think that's going to make it interesting in terms of the balance of power in college football. And they're going to be crying like my brother would say, had he cried. They're going to be, man, if USC look good, boy, the Pac-10, Pac-12 folks are going to be tearing up watching all that momentum go to the Big Ten. That's going to make it hurt even more. But I got a feeling Lincoln Riley going to come out the gate shooting threes. And so, if we see Snoop on the sideline, it's over. If we see Snoop on the sideline, we see all them cats on the sideline, all you can say is his back. Those two ends, those on the coast, are what I'm watching. And then what's going to happen in Miami? Will they finally get it right? Because that's another place. If that gets it right, it changes the balance of college football. Again, when you get people who know how to do what they need to do, woo! You
They're
get to
recruiting.
what? What?
I said they're recruiting too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Miami get it right. Like when you get USC and Miami back in it, now the conversation changes. Voice get a little higher. And I'm excited, and I love when I see Saban squirm a little bit. Now, I'm not a Saban hater. I love what he's structured, but I like a little competition. And it's programs like Miami when they humming, and USC and Clemson that bring balance. You know how State gonna do their thing. It brings balance to it. So that's the part I'm excited about. And just seeing, at the end of the day, the thing about college football is that when after all the noise, when that ball goes up in the air, it's young people making plays, right? It's like this young folks making plays, and like who are going to be those dogs when all that noise come out. I'm looking forward to seeing that. So we're gonna be on that journey together, y'all. We're gonna be on that journey together, and we'll be watching. We'll get in, rankings start to come out and do all these stuff. We'll get in to see who's what and who's where. We'll get into some predictions about who we think is gonna be where here in maybe in a couple weeks. But right now, we're just gonna enjoy that anything's possible. Like we're gonna enjoy that anything's possible, and we're gonna let the politics. Whatever happens in football, do what it does. But at the end of the day, when these young people go to the field, it's going to be fun to watch. All right. We're going to talk about, as we close out, what do you think is going to happen between now and the next time we talk, right? And in this segment, it's kind of our grand finale. What do y'all think? What do y'all anticipate? Now, didn't I say last time I thought Kevin was – I'm going to stop making my predictions. But what do y'all think is going to happen between now and the next time we get on the air? Things that you think that people need to watch out for. Isaiah, I'm going to hit you. This is a crystal ball. This is a crystal ball right now.
So last time when we had the little issue, it didn't get recorded, but I said that Kyrie Irving would be traded to the Lakers by the next week.
I actually tried to help you. See, I helped you, brother. By making my little technical snafu, I gave you a chance to reset.
Yeah, I've heard that, those rumors and those trade talks have kind of ground to a standstill. Same as with KD. But I've also heard that, they could implement a three-team deal. But, what's going on between Kyrie and KD is thing here, because I think the KD trade request is more about getting Kyrie traded, in my opinion. I'm going to stick to it. And I think they're going to find a way. It's a bold prediction. I know. But they're going to find a way to get Kyrie traded.
And now it's on wax.
Yeah. Now it's out there. I got to, just because last time it didn't get out, I got to get it off now. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. We're going to shoot this shot from half court. And if it go in, then I guess it go in, man. I'll be happy. But, man, that's my bold prediction for this.
Okay. I'm going to say a little something for you. And then we'll hopefully that comes through for you. All right, Darnell, what you think is going to be in the mix by the next time we get on the air?
The exact opposite. I say Sean Marks, Joe Tsai, and Kevin Durant, they're gonna come together and they're gonna figure out the best thing for both sides is to stay together. I mean, Kevin Durant, yeah, he could go to the Suns, but they're gonna have to get their core. Kevin Durant can go to the Heat, but they gotta give up too much. The Nets, if they all come back to the Nets next year, it's not the same Nets team that lost in the first round. They bringing back Ben Simmons. They bringing in C.J. Warren. You know what I'm saying? Joe Harris is going to be back healthy. That's a completely different roster. And I think they're going to be in a much better position to win if they all put their differences aside. And me, as the general manager, you're under contract for 4 years. So, and I know you love to play basketball. And I know you're 34 years old, and you're not about to sit out the season. So I'm gonna do what Jerry Buss said. I'm gonna tell them just like Jerry Buss told Kobe Bryant in 06, 05, 06. I'm not trading you, Kobe. You Kobe. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go to Kevin Durant just like that. I'm not trading you. They don't got enough. There's not enough in the world that they gonna give me back. They're not gonna give me Giannis back. They're not gonna give me Luka back. You know what I'm saying? No. You have to play out your contract. You signed the contract with us for 4 years, and you have to be here in Brooklyn. and that's how I play it. And I think within the next, I don't know if it's going to be the next week or so, but I think at the end of the day, they're going to end up bringing them back together. And I think they're going to, if they're going to look at it and they're going to say that, hey, what's best for both of us is just to work it out and stay together in Brooklyn.
My prediction is they're gonna relaunch that show of Fleecing of America because Danny Ainge will have fleeced another team with the trade of Donovan Mitchell. I mean, Danny Ainge is like that cat in your fantasy basketball league that everybody know they shouldn't trade with, but they can't help it. They press send. It's like I think we gonna see TV. We gonna see commercials for Fleecing of America or segments on that because nobody's fleeced folks in America more than Danny Ainge since he's done. I mean, the trades he's pulling off. I mean, what he got for Rudy, what he might get for Donovan. It's like there should be an investigation. You remember when they stepped in on the trade when Chris Paul was supposed to go to the Lakers?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're gonna step in on that, you need to step in on some of Danny Ainge's trade. Like this one, somebody should have stepped in on this trade just to try to save Minnesota. But I don't know. But I just think they're gonna get a lot right. We got the Knicks out here. I just think that Danny Ainge will have fleeced somebody by the time we talk next time. I think they're trying to warm up for it. But somebody will have been fleeced, and we will be on this side laughing about. I can't believe they did all that to get Donovan Mitchell. So that's what I believe will happen between now and the next time we meet. I had to check to make sure nobody got fleeced tonight, so I knew it was warming up. I was thinking maybe it already happened, but it will happen by the next time we go on the air. I'm convinced. I don't know what Danny Ainge does on the phone. I don't know if he's sweet talking people. I don't know if he's playing cool jazz music. I don't know what he does. I don't know if he got Miss Rudolph in the background with little tiny feet. I don't know what he got in there that gets people to think that he giving them something good. But he gonna do it again. I'm convinced of it. All right, y'all. It's been good to do this. We got my man Isaiah Hall and my
Yep,
man
I'm good one.
Darnell Kirkland Jr. I want to say at one time I want to say, well, I'll talk about that later. And you man Devon Wilson. Hey, check us out on realsportsguys.com. This is a great time. Thank you for being with us here on One Mic. Peace.